What's going on, everybody, and welcome to 2021. I am here with you to bring back the NHL season. We're back for another year of hockey. It's going to be a weird one. We got an all-Canadian division. We had the Tampa Bay Lightning win the Stanley Cup last year in that bubble. Everyone was stuck together, and we were all stuck together, and we were watching hockey and sports, and it was a good time. A good time was had by all. So now we're jumping right back into it, and to figure what else is better to do than do a little gambling show, because I'm going to be watching sports and placing little wagers on every single game that goes down this year. And there's a lot of them, starting with 5 on Wednesday. And let's get right into it. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be breaking down each game, each team, each matchup, and I'm going to give you a lean for each game. I'm not going to pick every game because you'd be an idiot to do that in hockey. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick each game, tell you who's going to win or who I think is going to win. But then what I'm going to do is give you my actual picks. I'll give you the official picks at the end of the video. And then we'll keep track of those throughout the season and see how I do. Maybe I'll do great and you guys can listen to me and we'll all make some money. Maybe I'll do terrible and you can do the opposite of what I do and then you'll still make some money. So yeah, let's get into it. Before we start, if you could just do me a huge favor and like and subscribe, it would help me out a lot and I'd really appreciate it. Thank you. Game number 1, we got the Flyers at minus 125, or we have the Penguins at plus 104. Let's take a look at the Flyers. So we got, during the regular season, they went 41, 21, and 7. Fourth in the conference, second in the Metro, fourth in goal differential. They won 19 of their last 26 games from January 8th until the end of the season. Philly got hot. Philly was as good as Tampa was for the back half of the season with Carter Hart. Cataha looks legit, looks to be up and coming. Philly finally has a goaltender that they've been looking for years. So let's look at the Penguins. How did the Penguins do last year? Well, basically, Sidney Crosby had a sports hernia like halfway through the season. Did they fall apart? No, Evgeny Malkin just started putting up points like an absolute demon. So he finished the season with 74 points in 55 games, but of course not good enough for the MVP. You got Leon Draisaitl in the league. There's going to come an end to that dynasty. Is that end right now? Probably not. Realistically, if they have Crosby and they have Malkin, Brian Russ is taking a step forward. Jake Kensel's bona fide star. It's their defense that's a little bit shaky. Outside of Letang, they're young, they're inexperienced, or they're not that good. And I don't know what Tristan Jarry is, so that's a tough call. The first thing I'm going to think is I love the Penguins as an underdog. I love Sidney Crosby. I love Evgeny Malkin. If I had to wager my money on what I think Sidney Crosby's been doing since the Penguins got eliminated from the bubble, they got upset by the Montreal Canadiens. You don't think those guys are going to be a little bit fired up that team that could have gone pretty deep into the playoffs got eliminated by a team that probably shouldn't have even been there? Crosby's going to come out flying here, and it's going to be a Pittsburgh win, which would be good value because plus 104 odds. I'll just read you a few stats. The Penguins have won 4 of the last 5 openers against the Flyers. Penguins 3-1-1 in season series over the last 5 years against the Flyers. 12-5-2 in their last 19. Penguins have outscored Flyers 41-29 over the last 3 seasons. I'm not going against Sid in this one. I got to take the Penguins to upset. It's a good value bet. All right, up next you got the Leafs favored at minus 141, and you have the Canadiens, the underdogs, at plus 118. So what happened with the Leafs this year? Well, they traded Kadri for Tyson Barrie. That didn't work out at all. Mike Babcock became like a tyrant, and everyone in the room hated him. So the team stopped playing well, even though they're supposed to be the best team ever. It's supposed to be the best Leafs team ever assembled. Austin Matthews scored 47 goals last year, and they didn't make the playoffs. And they got eliminated by the Columbus Blue Jackets in 5 games in the play-in round, so they did not make the playoffs. They had one fantastic game where they eliminated a 3-goal lead with minutes left to win the game in overtime, but they also lost a 3-goal lead the game before and went on to lose game 5 to get eliminated. So pretty lackluster from those Toronto Maple Leafs. Their top forwards making $40 million a year, and they cannot make the playoffs. That one hurt. That was a rough season. Probably one of the worst seasons I've ever watched, based on the expectations versus reality. The Montreal Canadiens. So Mark Bergevin has done everything in his power to avoid a rebuild for like 10 years, and I don't know how he does it. He just keeps retooling, and somehow the Montreal Canadiens stay within the playoff hunt. I think they're better than people give them credit for, but I don't think they're that good either. You have Carey Price and you have Shea Weber, who are going to be themselves every year. They're going to do what they do. But then you have a sneaky good top 9 forwards on the Canadiens. Their top line, Tatar, Deneau, and Gallagher, it leaves something to be desired. It's more like a second line, but they're like still good. And then their second line is Drew and Suzuki, and who they just acquired, Josh Anderson. who could be great. He's a power forward. And then their third line, they got Toffoli, who can snipe, Kotkaniemi, who's a rising star, and you got Joel Armia, who's like a spark plug out there. I think they can punch above their weight if they play as a team. If they all come together and play well, I think they could be a good team. The Montreal Canadiens are definitely the value in this game. The Leafs should win, I think, but I just never know with this team. Habs have won 3 of the last 5 season openers, but in the last 11 games, the Leafs have gone 8-3-1, so the Leafs should win. Like I say, I don't like the game. I'm not going to pick it. If I had to lean, I would take the Montreal Canadiens as a value bet, but I would stay away from this game. Up next, we got Tampa Bay at minus 255 favorite, biggest favorite of the day, and the Chicago Blackhawks at plus 215 underdogs. The Blackhawks have been up against it, and it being the cap for years. Jonathan Toews stepped away from hockey indefinitely to get his head right. Brandon Saad was traded to Colorado. Corey Crawford left in free agency. Kirby Dach injured at the World Juniors. Alex Nylander is injured. This takes the Chicago Blackhawks from being a young team with wonderful leadership to just being sort of an understaffed, too young of a team. In the bubble, they eliminated the Edmonton Oilers. Like, inspired play by Jonathan Toews, who just lit up on fire. Who would have expected Jonathan Toews to show up in a big game, right? Like, playoff wonder. Just dominated Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl, and the Edmonton Oilers, and they eliminated them. It was fantastic. But now they stink, so it's going to be a rough season. The puck line for Tampa Bay is plus 105 odds, so you can double your money if you think that the Tampa Bay Lightning will win by 2, and this guy does, and I'll tell you why right now. The Lightning are 8-1-1 in their last 10 against the Hawks, straight up, outscoring them 33-22 in that span. Lightning averaged a league first 3.47 goals per game. That's over 70 games. In that same amount of time, the Chicago Blackhawks were 18th in goals per game with 2.97. Everyone knows the Lightning can score. I don't think the Chicago Blackhawks can stop them. That's why I'm taking Tampa Bay Lightning minus 1.5 at the plus 105 odds. Okay, up next we have a great matchup between the Vancouver Canucks as plus 100 underdogs and the Edmonton Oilers as minus 120 favorites. Now we know why the Edmonton Oilers are favorites. They have Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl. They're 2 of the best players in the league, and nobody can stop them. The good news is most of the rest of their team stinks. They have Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, who can play pretty well. He gets some power play goals. He's a good shooter, and he's quick. He's got a good brain. Their defense is like 2 second lines and then like a 4th line. Like they're alternates. Their defense stinks. I don't think Mikko Koskinen is all that great. I don't think he can catch a puck with his glove hand. He's probably a great guy though, so I don't want to be mean to him. But the Edmonton Oilers ride and die on Connor McDavid and Draisaitl, and that's obvious, and everyone knows that. So they got beaten by the Blackhawks in the bubble and missed playoffs, which is like devastating because that's just another year of McDavid missing playoffs and not getting a chance to compete for the Stanley Cup. Can't feel too good about that, which is why I think he's going to take all his rage out on the Vancouver Canucks in this first game, and I think the Oilers win this one big. However, I'm not taking the Oilers. I'm actually going to go with the over. The over is at 5.5. And I'll tell you why I'm going with the over. Edmonton went over 36-34 last season, while the Vancouver Canucks went over 40-30. In the last 10 meetings between these two teams, there's been 51 goals. In the last 15 meetings between these games, there's been 77 goals combined for an average of 5.1 goals per game. I like the over at 5.5. I think this is going to be one of the high-scoring games. If that's the average, it's going to go over in this one. Opening day in 2015, McDavid was held off the board in his first year. Loser, I know. In 2016, McDavid put up 1 goal and 2 assists on opening day. Draisaitl had 1 assist. In 2017, McDavid had 3 goals. Draisaitl had 2 assists. 2018, McDavid had 1 goal and 2 assists in the first game. Draisaitl had 1 goal and 1 assist. 2019, McDavid had 1 goal. Draisaitl had 1 goal and 2 assists. So basically what these numbers are telling you is that in the first game of a season, you can count on McDavid and Draisaitl to combine for at least 4 or 5 points on their own. I'm willing to bet that the Vancouver Canucks can put in a goal or 2 with Pettersson and Brock Besser and JT Miller coming out of nowhere as a scorer. I don't think the Oilers' defense is that good, so I'm going to say over in this game. It's going to go over 5.5 easy. And that's going to be an official pick of mine. My lean is that the Oilers win the game, though, because McDavid's going to be cheesed. The Vancouver Canucks are going to be a very fun team to watch. However, I believe that they'll fall back down to earth after a phenomenal playoff run. I'm giving them all the credit they deserve. I love me some Pettersson. I love me some Quinn Hughes. I think they're going to fall back down to earth, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. They had some phenomenal goaltending last year, and now they have Holtby, so it's It's not like they took a step back or anything. So, but yeah, over for the Oilers. All right, up next we got the Blues as plus 115 underdogs, and we have the Colorado Avalanche as plus 140 favorites. Now, the Avalanche are the team to beat this season, if you ask me. Their roster is absolutely stacked. I think they're going to win a lot of games this year, and I think they're going to win this game, and I think they're going to win this game in regulation. That's why that's going to be one of my official picks. The Avs will win this game. That's going to be my lean, but my official pick is that the Avalanche win it in regulation at plus 110. Double your money. And the reason I think this, now, somebody might be asking me, because the Blues were actually 6th in the league at taking games to overtime last season. They did it 10 times. So that's a little bit worrisome. You don't want it to go to overtime. That'd be like the worst way. Even if the Avs won, you wouldn't get your money. But I believe that was a different Blues team, and this is a different Avalanche team. I think the Avalanche have gotten significantly better. They've developed. They've taken a step further, as you can see in the bubble, how good Cale Makar was, and Sam Girard and their other rookies, and then obviously Nathan McKinnon and Landeskog and Ranthanen's back from injury, and they have Kadri, and the team is just stacked from top to bottom. Frank Kuz has been playing great. Grubauer's there as a backup, or vice versa. I'm not even sure. Grubauer's the starter, I believe. But they have a great tandem there, regardless. And the Blues, they got Torrey Krug, they got Mike Hoffman, but they let Bo Meester go. They let Pietrangelo go. Jake Allen's gone, so we hope Binnington keeps up his phenomenal play. Steen retired. Tarasenko's out with a shoulder injury. It's going to be a tough season for the Blues. Like, who do they have on defense? Who do they have on forward? I think this Avs team is going to run them over. So last season, it was a 2-2 split, almost equal goals for. Like I said, Blues go to OT a lot, but I think these are just two different teams now, and I think the Avs win it in regulation, no problem. Double your money. That's free money right there. You're welcome.
So my official leans for this opening day of hockey, I'm going to pick just the teams I think are going to win. In the first game, you have the Flyers and the Pittsburgh Penguins. I'm going to take the Penguins in that one. They're underdogs, but I think they're going to win the game somehow. I think the Flyers have gotten better, but for some reason I just think the Penguins are going to win, so I'm taking them. The next lean is, I know I said the Canadiens are the value bet, but I'm actually going to stay away from this game. So my lean is that the Toronto Maple Leafs should win this game. So that's my official lean on that one. I think the Lightning will win that game handily. The Oilers, I'm picking over the Canucks, and the Avalanche over the Blues. Those are my official leans. Do what you will. They're not the greatest odds. That's just who I think is going to win. So my official picks for the day. These are the ones I'm going to lock in. These are the ones that I think they're going to hit, that are the best value. Number one is the Pittsburgh Penguins as underdogs at plus 104. The next one is the Tampa Bay Lightning to win by minus 1.5 over the Chicago Blackhawks. That's at plus 105 odds. I also have the Avalanche in regulation at plus 110 odds, and the Oilers Canucks over at minus 135. I wouldn't normally bet this many games. Like, there's only 5 games, and I made 4 picks there. That's not usually wise, but it's just opening day, so I want a little piece of the action on every single game. And I'm going to bet with my heart on the Maple Leafs and hope that they win. But tomorrow there's a much bigger slate of games. There's 11 games, so I'm going to be much more selective and make hopefully better picks on the second day of hockey. But that's what I think for the first day. So yeah, that's it. Let's get rich. Let's make some money. Thank you for listening. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you tomorrow.